Welcome, everybody, this afternoon. I want to ask everyone to please bow your head for just a moment of brief meditation. And thank you. Dr. Spearman.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, our first order of business would be to set the next commission meeting. I propose that due to the fact that we have a hearing starting tomorrow, which may last a few days, that we have our next business meeting on Wednesday, November 14th at 2 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Good.
Carry on.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, on the utility agenda, in item number 1, doc number 2018-331C, NGA 911, seeking an appointment of a hearing examiner.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we appoint David Stark as hearing examiner. So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
And item number 2, doc number 2017-177C. This is the first negotiated amendment to the interconnection agreement.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we approve the first negotiated amendment to the interconnection agreement between Envoy Spectrum, LLC and Bell South Telecommunications, LLC, doing business as AT&T. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Williams' motion. The questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 3, doc number 2001-359C, Momentum Telecom, requesting to cancel its certificate.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Urban.
I move that we grant Momentum Telecom Incorporated's request to cancel certificate. So moved.
You've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
And item number 4, doc number 2009-331S, Jacob Utilities, seeking approval of amendment number 3 to an agreement for sewer services.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve amendment number 3 to the agreement for sewer services between Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores Incorporated and JHAB Utilities, LLC. So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries.
And item number 5, doc number 2006-401G, Peabody Natural Gas Company, seeking approval of GCRM 146.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Piedmont Natural Gas Company Incorporated's GCRM-146 tariff, which raises the benchmark cost of gas from $2.75 per decatherm to $3 per decatherm, effective with the first billing cycle in November 2018. The Office of Regulatory Staff has reviewed Piedmont's request and has no objection. This change results in an increase of 0.02544 per therm for sales rate schedules 201, 202, 242, 252, 203, and 204, and an increase of 0.00044 per therm for transportation rate schedules 213 and 214. Mr. Chairman, I would also note the combined impact of this request with the recently approved reduction in docket number 2018-7-G under the Natural Gas Rate Stabilization Act is a decrease of approximately $12.47 per month per residential customer with an average monthly usage of 100 therms. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. We have questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 6, doc number 2018-6G. Office of Regulatory Staff requesting to withdraw its petition for reconsideration or clarification.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I move we grant the Office of Regulatory Staff's request to withdraw its motion for reconsideration or clarification. So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Do we have questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Item number 7, doc number 1984-423E. Duke Energy Carolinas requesting to terminate its residential water heating service controlled sub-metered schedule WC.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Elam.
Mr. Chairman, I move we grant the request to terminate the residential water heating service controlled sub-meter scheduled WC program. While this program has been around since 1984, consumer interest in the program has dropped significantly, and there are very few new entrants into the program, none in 2018 and only one in 2017. Due to the reduced consumer interest and the cost of replacing aging equipment needed to facilitate the program, it is no longer cost-effective for the program to continue. The Office of Regulatory Staff has reviewed and supports the company's request. While termination of this program is permitted under South Carolina Code Section 5827H70F without notice and hearing, the approved tariff does require 30 days' notice to be given to the current program participants. Therefore, I move that we grant the request to terminate the program without further hearing or notice, only so far as it must comply with the terms of the tariff, which requires 30 days' notice to current participants. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Elam's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Item number 8, doc number 2018-328E. Duke Energy Progress requesting waiver of Regulation 103-321 to implement changes in billing cycle.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we grant the petition for limited waiver in the South Carolina Code Annotated Regulation 103-321 to implement changes in billing cycles filed on behalf of Duke Energy Progress, LLC. The utility proposes to allow customers with smart meters to select their own billing due date to conform with their personal financial needs. The Office of Regulatory Staff supports the waiver request. I move that the Commission grant the petition as it is in the public interest. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Williams' motion. The questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 9, doc number 2018-164E. This is a Kathleen Kine complaint with South Carolina Electric and Gas. A motion to dismiss.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Urban.
Ms. Klein's attorney has informed SCE&G and our staff that a bankruptcy filing has been made on behalf of Mrs. Klein and her husband as of yesterday. This correspondence from the SCE&G attorney has set out the company's process when a customer files bankruptcy and requested that the complaint be dismissed. However, I would move that prior to a decision on the motion to dismiss, we allow the parties to address the propriety of the new request, particularly in regard to the impact of Section 362 of the Bankruptcy Code. Such filings will be due on November the 9th, 2018. I so move.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, items 10, 11, and 12 are petitions to intervene. Items 10 and 11 are petitions to intervene in doc number 2018-320E. Item number 10 is petition of the South Carolina Coastal Conservation League and Southern Alliance for Clean Energy Item number 11 is the petition of the South Carolina Solar Business Alliance. And item number 12 is the petition to intervene in docket 321 on behalf of the South Carolina Coastal Conservation League and the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy. And item number 13 is also a petition to intervene in docket 2018-322E, and this is the petition of South Carolina Coastal Conservation League and Southern Alliance for Clean Energy.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Irvin.
I move that in all four of these cases, 10, 11, 12, and 13, that we grant the petitions to intervene filed on behalf of these parties. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Irvin's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, no. The motion carries.
Item number 14, docket number 2018-323E, Duke Energy Progress, seeking approval for the transfer and sale of property in Samora, North Carolina.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to South Carolina Code Section 58-27-1300, Duke Energy Progress has requested approval for the sale and transfer of 430.69 acres of vacant land located in the utility service territory in North Carolina. The utility proposes to sell the property to Sunbelt Acquisitions, LLC, a non-affiliated North Carolina limited liability company, for $2,500,000. The proposed sale and transfer of the property will have no impact upon the utility's ability to provide reliable electric service to its customers at just and reasonable rates. The Commission has received no objections to the proposed sale and transfer of this property. The Office of Regulatory Staff has informed the Commission that it also has no objection. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Commission approve this transaction.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 15, docket number 2018-283E, a joint petition for the assignment and reassignment of territory in Charleston and Dorchester counties, along with agreements to limit corridor rights.
Chairman,
Commissioner Howard.
docket number 2018-283E, I move we approve the assignment and reassignment of territory in Charleston and Dorchester counties. Proposed assignment and reassignment of territories will not cause any customer to change their service. Additionally, the proposed limitation on corridor rights will avoid wasteful duplication of electric distribution lines and related facilities and promote safe operation of the distribution system. The Office of Regulatory Staff does not object. Parties should file up-to-date maps reflecting the changes in territory assignment. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments? So, okay, did you included the approval to the of agreements to limit the corridor rights? That's in your motion, correct?
Right.
Thank you. All right, you've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 16, docket number 2018-284E. This is another joint petition for the assignment and reassignment of territory. This is in Orangeburg County and for agreements to limit corridor rights.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Elam.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the assignment and reassignment of territory in Orangeburg County and approval of agreements to limit corridor rights. The proposed assignment and reassignment of territory will not cause any customers to change their service. Additionally, the proposed limitation on corridor rights will avoid wasteful duplication of electric distribution lines and appurtenant facilities and promote safe operation of distribution systems. The Office of Regulatory Staff does not object. The parties shall file updated maps reflecting the changes in territory assignments. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Elam's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 17, doc number 2018-320E, joint application of Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress for waiver of notice and hearing, the application to establish Green Source Advantage programs and Riders GSA.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Urban.
I move that we deny the request for waiver of notice and hold in abeyance the waiver of notice hearing until completion of the intervention period, subsequent to which we will make a determination regarding the necessity of a hearing. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 18, doc number 2018-202E, Duke Energy Carolinas and Duke Energy Progress, requesting approval of the CPREQ number proposal, limited waiver of generator interconnection procedures, and a request for expedited review.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Elam.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant portions of the requests from Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC, and Duke Energy Progress, LLC. Insofar as limited waiver is necessary under sections 1.6, 3, 4.2, and 4.3 of the South Carolina Generator Interconnections Procedures to allow South Carolina projects to bid into and enter the CPREQ, I move that we grant the request. Similarly, I move that we grant limited waiver of forms and agreements and of the System Impact Study Agreement as discussed within the request. I also move that we limit our ruling in this matter to approval of waivers that are strictly necessary to allow South Carolina projects to bid into and enter the Tranche 1 of the CPREQ. Subsequent to the initial request, Duke also requested that we find that upgrade costs, traditionally incorporated into the price of the solar project, are properly entered into rate base as if reasonable and prudent in a future rate case. I move that we deny any consideration of such costs or the appropriateness of seeking recovery and incorporation of such costs into rate base at this time. As indicated in the October 5th North Carolina Utility Commission order in docket number E100 sub 101, and I quote, based upon the submissions and statements by the parties, including Duke, the most competitive projects with a likelihood of winning in the Tranche 1 RFP should be in locations with sufficient capacity that minor, if any, grid upgrades are required to interconnect the facilities. Duke further indicated there would not be material upgrades in Tranche 1 due to available capacity on both the DEP and DEC system. However, in that same order, the North Carolina Commission stated that the issues of cost allocation of grid upgrades warrants further consideration for future tranches of the CPRE. Mr. Chairman, I share the concern of our North Carolina counterparts. While I move that we grant waivers to the extent necessary for participation in Tranche 1, I move that we also recognize the need for potential revision of the CPRE rules and Duke's CPRE plan for future tranches after it gains experience through Tranche 1. Further, in respect to future tranches where grid upgrade costs are more likely to occur, I move that we evaluate the following options and possibly others that may be proposed by the parties prior to consideration of approval of such future tranches. 1, change the CPRE participation approval in this state to remove the ability of Duke to recover grid upgrade costs in base rates. 2, change the CPRE program plan to require the initial bids to contain all of the interconnection customers' costs. 3, revise the CPRE process to allow competitive bidders to refresh their bids based on the assessment of grid upgrades identified in Step 2 of the CPRE RFP bid evaluation process. And 4, explore options for Duke to more specifically direct generators to locations on the system that will not involve major network upgrades. Additionally, comments by the intervening parties have elicited concerns that are to be addressed by the following. Foremost, this commission retains jurisdiction over all South Carolina CPRE projects and the disputes that arise from the CPRE program for South Carolina solar developers. Additionally, Duke shall take adequate measures to ensure non-bidding interconnection requests are not negatively impacted by the requested waivers or the company's administration of the CPRE program. All non-bidding interconnection requests shall be processed and studied according to the timelines required by the South Carolina generator interconnection procedures and should not be delayed or disadvantaged in any way by the concurrent processing of interconnection requests in the CPRE program. The company shall update and file reports with the Commission and ORS similar to those reports required by the North Carolina Commission and public staff in the CPRE docket program, in the CPRE program docket numbers E2 sub 1159 and E7 sub 1156, and the North Carolina Interconnection Procedures docket number E-100 sub 101. While Tranche 1 interconnection customers that voluntarily agree to participate in the CPRE program will of course be subject to the rules, regulations, and fees of the North Carolina Commission related to the administration of the CPRE program, Tranche 2 will not be approved without a proceeding before this commission that defines the program and results in a framework for administering CPRE in South Carolina. The Tranche 1 group study must define 1. Who participates in a group study and how they apply for the process. 2. Timelines for each step of the process. 3. How groups would be formed and how the studies will be conducted to evaluate the impacts associated with the interconnected group. 4. What happens if the project drops out of the study group, or in other words, are restudies required? And if so, when and how are they conducted? And 5, how costs will be allocated between projects in a group. Concern also exists regarding the backlog of the company's existing queues that are administered under the South Carolina generator interconnection procedures. As a result, Duke shall report the status of its queue, the reasons for the backlog, and its plan to remedy the problem to the Commission within 30 days of the date of this order. ORS is requested to follow up with an investigation and also report on the status of the queue within 30 days of the date of the company's report. Duke shall follow up quarterly with a status report regarding the queue, and ORS is requested to verify this update. Concern exists that Duke's proposal could result in undue negative impacts to the South Carolina projects not bidding into the CPRE program and the possibility that non-CPRE projects could be treated in a discriminatory manner, particularly with regard to study resources allocated between projects under the South Carolina generator interconnection procedures and projects allocated to CPRE projects. To allay this concern, the report required above shall also, 1, indicate which projects have been bid into CPRE, which projects were selected as CPRE winners, and which projects bid into CPRE but were not selected. This information shall also be included in the semi-annual interconnection queue reports currently filed by Duke in docket number 2015-352E. 2, identify for ORS, if requested, the intervals for every significant milestone for every queue ahead non-CPRE project, including intervals for receipt of system impact and facilities studies agreements, for the system impact and facility studies to be completed, or when studies are completed and the interconnection agreement is received, and for when the interconnection request is received to execution of interconnection agreement. 3, provide aggregate statistics on CPRE and non-CPRE projects, including, first, the actual allocation of FTEs and person hours devoted to the processing of CPRE and non-CPRE projects for the transmission and distribution queues, including on a per project and per megawatt basis. Second, information on interconnection study intervals for system impact studies and facility studies for CPRE versus non-CPRE projects. Third, information on interconnection study backlogs for CPRE versus non-CPRE projects. And fourth, the number of CPRE versus non-CPRE projects that achieved each significant interconnection milestone, i.e. system impact study complete, facility study complete, IA signed, interconnection achieved during the reporting period. This information shall also be included in the quarterly report currently provided to ORS and the South Carolina Solar Business Alliance pursuant to the February 26, 2016 Memorandum of Understanding approved by the Commission in docket number 2015-362E. I further move that a full order be issued following the directive issued pursuant to this motion. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Elam's motion. The questions or comments? Not? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that concludes the utility agenda. On the transportation agenda, items 1 through 7 are applications for Class C certificates. Item number 1 is the application of City Cab of Myrtle Beach for taxi certificate. Item number 2 is the application of Caroline Transportation for a non-emergency certificate. Item number 3, application of Let's Go Transportation Service for stretcher van certificate. Item number 4, application of Capital Area Transportation Services for non-emergency certificate. Item number 5, the application of Capital Area Transportation Services for a charter certificate. Item number 6, application of Redia's helping to help others for Class C charter certificate. And item number 7, application of Fusion Transport Services for taxi certificate.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move we approve new applications for the dockets identified by Dr. Spearman in items 1 through 7. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries.
Item number 8, application of XL Moving and Storage for a Class E household goods certificate.
And before we get to this one, I was not in attendance at this hearing, so I will not be voting.
Likewise, I won't be voting either.
Commissioner
Either
Howard.
will I be voting on the next item.
Mr. Chairman, for the remaining 5 of us, I'd offer a motion in item 8. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the application of XL Moving and Storage LLC for a Class E household goods certificate of public convenience and necessity. So move.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, no. Motion carries.
And item number 9 is the application of Jordan River Moving for a Class E household goods certificate.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we approve the application of Jordan River Moving LLC, doing business as Jordan River Moving and Storage, for a Class E household goods certificate. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. I was also not here for this docket, so I will not be voting, as well as Commissioner Howard, I think. That right, Commissioner Howard? You've heard Commissioner Williams' motion. Are there any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 10, Buford Shuttle requesting to cancel its certificate.
Chairman,
Commissioner Howard.
move we grant the request of Buford Shuttle LLC to cancel a Class C, that's a charter certificate. Certificate number is 9247. So move, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
And item number 11, ROFX Group requesting extension of time.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Urban.
I move that we grant the request of ROF Group LLC, doing business as Southern Care Non-Emergency Medical Transport, for an extension of time until July the 26th, 2019, to comply with the Commission's rules and regulations. If the applicant still desires to obtain a certificate after that date, the applicant will need to file a new application. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Urban's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this completes the business agenda for today. I will call your attention to the fact that we do have hearings following this meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Spearman. Okay, we will adjourn for a few minutes, and then we will start the next hearing. So this meeting is adjourned.